On today's question of faith, can you take a vacation from vocation? Hey everybody, this is Question of Faith. I am Mike Hayes. I am the Director of Young Adult Ministry in the Diocese of Cleveland, and there's somebody strange in the studio.
They don't get any stranger than me. I'm not Father Damian Ference. I'm Fr Eric Garris, the Vocation Director for the Diocese.
Father Damian is, in fact, on vacation.
Do you think he's taking a vacation from his vocation?
Surprisingly, we're recording this a little ahead of time because I will be on vacation when this is airing, and Father Damian is on vacation right now while we were recording.
Right. So summer in the church, things get a little bit more relaxed. I mean, in parish, you're going to have funerals, you're going to have weddings, you're going to have different stuff.
Sure.
But parishes that don't have school, or parishes that have schools, it's a little bit more relaxed. The seminarians are on break, and every year when the seminarians go home, they're always given their little brief of, you're still seminarians, there's no vacation from vocation. But there is an important time for rest and for leisure and recreation and all that good stuff. I mean, God rested.
Yeah.
Right?
So 6 days and then took a break. Yeah.
That's right.
Jesus is often, he was healing all these people, and then he went off to a quiet place by himself.
Right, to pray and to be away from people.
Yeah.
And there's an importance of that. So priests are given, we have what I call it a day away. I don't call it a day off because most priests have Thursdays or whatever. Yeah. But you're kind of going. I mean, you're on most days from 7 to 9 and everywhere in between. So to have a little bit of a day to recharge is huge. I remember being a newly ordained priest not really knowing what to do at that time because you're like, oh, I can sleep. Yeah, you can sleep, but then what? So it's finding time, and it's running with established relationships. I know for me on my day away, a lot of times I'll spend some time with my mom.
Nice.
Throughout the week. It's hard to pop in, say, hey, yeah, I can give her a call, but to sit down and have dinner, to golf with a friend, we're human beings, and we need
Really?
we need to take care of our humanity, and part of that is having time for rest, leisure, friendship, recreation, being a human being.
What do you most like to do on vacation if you have some extended time away?
So vacation, typically, when I'm on vacation, I'm with other priests. So when I was in seminary, there was a group of us who we would go on spring break together, and most college students would go to raucous locations like Daytona Beach and various things. Cancun. And so we would be 5 seminarians in Naples, Florida for a week. And I remember we would go to daily mass every day, and one day we're all sitting there and we have our breviaries in hand, and the pastor, he's like, so what diocese are you guys from? We're like, how'd you know? He's like, you're 5 20-year-old guys here for daily mass every day. So
with a breviary.
With a breviary. So for the most part, that group has stayed together.
Nice.
So we'll head on vacation once a year together. We wake up, we'll hang out, we'll have coffee, we'll have breakfast. We have mass together every day. And then the afternoons are kind of, if you want to read. If you want to golf. If you want to hang out. And then we'll come together, we'll make dinner, we'll go to dinner. But a lot of it is just, it's the community. I think that there's an important reality to having those times of just rest with one another. We laugh a lot, mostly at each other's expenses, like all good friends do.
Yeah.
But if anything, it's not a vacation from vocation at all. We're still priests.
Sure.
We still have mass, and we talk to one another with what's going on in ministry, and we're praying with and for one another. But we're also taking care of ourselves.
Now, did you all have the same idea of what vacation is? Like when you go away, did you all have to settle on?
No, well, I think we've done it long enough where we figure it out now. So I know that the joke is going on vacation with me is like bringing a golden retriever. So I need activities and let's play this game, let's play that game, let's play spike ball, let's play bocce.
Yes.
So
you and I can go on vacation together. That's right,
but then there's guys in the group who don't, and so you chill, and we know that, and so you need your time, have your time, but it's what is going to bring about. The thing that blew my mind, someone told me that the word recreation is just recreation spelled weirdly.
Right.
So what is going to recreate you? What's going to breathe life within you? Yes, it's time alone. Yes, it's time with people.
But it's restorative.
It's restorative.
Yeah. No, it was funny when I first. So priesthood, married life, not all that different apparently.
Right.
So my wife and I decided we were going to go on vacation when we first got married, and we're starting to talk about where we want to go. And I'm like, hey, why don't we go to Boston? And we can go to a Red Sox game. We can tool around Boston. We could do the Freedom Trail. And she's looking at me very strangely, and she's like, oh, I was thinking maybe we'd go. My uncle has a little condo in Ventnor, New Jersey. And I'm like, Ventnor, New Jersey? She goes, yeah, one of the yellow properties. And I was like, oh, right, yeah, Monopoly. She goes, yeah, Marvin Gardens is literally across the street. And she was like, yeah, we could just go there and read books and hang out by the beach and everything. And I was like, that sounds awful.
Right.
She's like, oh, my idea of vacation is you go somewhere and you do nothing. And I was like, yeah, not my idea. I need activity. I need, I'd like to go and explore a city
Sure.
and things like that. So now we sort of go somewhere in the middle. We'll go and explore a city, but we'll also take some time just to do, a day or two just to do nothing.
Right.
And that kind of works.
Yeah, and you
out
don't want to
pretty
be
well.
running. I think the point of vacation, we keep saying, is recreation, life-giving leisure.
Yeah.
That by the time of vacation's over, usually, even on my day away,
Yeah.
and it's not always a full day. Things come up and you've got an event you have to be at, but somewhere around 7 o'clock, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to do work again. And you reach kind of that point where it's yeah, I'll hop on and do some email, and it's not that you're a slave to work, but it's okay. I've had this time.
I've restored.
And now I can go back.
Yeah.
There was I remember being in seminary and going to the Institute for Priestly Formation, which is a summer-long seminarian experience, whatever. And they talked about the difference between a motorboat and a sailboat. And the motorboat stores up, fuels up, and then goes.
Yep.
And the sailboat constantly is that sense of openness. Now, obviously, we're talking about prayer.
Sure.
But even with leisure, we can make vacation an idol and be oh, I'm going to store up. It's well, no, Jesus found 15 minutes to get away, right, and
Right.
even in our busy days, I'm an extrovert,
Yep.
but I need time alone,
Yep.
right? And
Same.
I need, so part is what's going to give life to me as life goes on.
Yeah. Yeah. I've found that I've needed since I've been in ministry, actually, I found that I've needed more time alone because it's just people all the time, right?
Right.
It's just okay, we're going to go and do this. Now we got this activity and this retreat and this prayer service, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And you're like, wait a minute. Whoa, look at the time,
Right, that's
I need
even
to go.
on a day away. One of the things that I watch, I have a hard time with movies and TV shows because I'm already immersed in the human story. I need something that'll pull me out. So I watch nature documentaries.
Oh, that's funny.
Because
Yeah.
it's just I don't have to think and I can just enter in there because so much you're just submerged in life
Yeah.
and different situations of life that to kind of have something to break that up of oh, look at this.
Yeah. One of the things that I've been doing is once a month now. It usually works out this way just because of scheduling. The Guardians will have a game in the a day game, and it's at 1 o'clock, and so I just take the afternoon off, and I put in for it. It's not like I'm sneaking
Sure.
away from the office. I just take the afternoon off, and we can walk there from our offices here downtown. I just walk up there. I would say 80% of the time, I go myself. I don't go with anybody else. I go and get some food. I just go find a seat. There's no one there, right?
Right.
Now the usher's going to be watching me carefully.
Yeah, but they don't know what you look like. It's radio,
That's
right?
true, yeah.
Podcast.
Yeah.
I'll paint a picture for them. And have you seen this man?
And it's literally like a retreat. I generally don't even talk to anybody, right?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm making friends at the ballpark or anything. I find a sort of secluded spot somewhere, and I sit there and I just watch the baseball game, and then I go home.
Right.
You know?
And that's, so even day away, I, as well, I love going to baseball
Yeah.
games and whether it be, the good thing about baseball is that it's just so slow that you can enter in. And yeah, there might be times where things get crazy and whatever, but you can just go and just go.
Yeah.
I remember Father Tom Tiff, God rest his soul, he was the old rector of St. Mary's Seminary. He would go there and grade papers.
Oh, that's funny.
There was a restorative
Yeah.
sense of that. Now the pitch clock's making everything crazy and super fast, but still, it's a pace of play that is slow. And I think we're always on the go, whether we're in ministry or we're in family. We're always on the go. That to have some time just to slow down.
Slow down. Yeah, take it easy, right?
Take it easy.
And it was interesting because, like I mentioned before, with my wife, when she started talking about vacation being, solely that, where you don't do anything, I was like, that sounds awful. Now all of a sudden, I'm like, maybe that's not such a bad idea,
Right.
Like especially if you're going all the time. Like if I had 3 straight weeks of 8 events or something going on, I'm like, whew, man. Please, no one talk to me for the next at least 2 hours. You know?
And the weird thing about ministry and priesthood is like your weekend isn't really a weekend. Most people have that built in.
Sure, yeah.
So like my weekend is Thursday. So it's trying to like find people like not a lot of people have Thursday off.
Right.
And so it's a lot of it is like the mornings are alone or you grab lunch with someone or whatever. But it's knowing what you're like, it's being sensitive to what your heart and your body are telling you.
Right.
I remember early on I would sleep and sleep and sleep. But now it's like, I don't necessarily need to sleep as much. I need some of this other stuff.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It's knowing and it's discerning. How do I enter into this time of rest?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Like it's for me, like when I do the Ignatian examine, I'll note the things that I notice most is who makes me really come alive. Like, when I spend time with, who do I have more energy with because I spent time with this person or whatever. And if there's a day off and I haven't spent time with said person, I know that they'll restore me a little bit. And so I'll call them up and say, so Thursday afternoon, Guardians game, you know, or, this Saturday I have nothing to do, and my wife's away or something like that and looking for something to do, do you want to come and hang out? And usually that restores me. It's someone who I know will, give me the energy that I need to kind of get through the next 2 weeks. I find that I'm doing that now when I know events are coming up down the pike. I'm like, okay, who do I hang out with that I know I'm just going to have a really good time with, and I can just be with them? Mm-hmm.
Do you know who that person is for me?
Jesus.
Yes. No, seriously. I definitely try to be with my family and friends, but one of the blessings of where my mom's house is, it's not too far from my home parish of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. There's an adoration chapel, and so almost every week I stop there, spend some time in prayer, and that's a really holy, just special place for me. And then I go across the street and I get some coffee, and then I go on my very merry way. So it's like, it's essentially prioritizing. These are the relationships that I need to maintain, that I want to maintain, and that refill me and energize me.
Yeah. What's your favorite all-time vacation that you've taken?
Oh, it's hard. As kids, we would go a lot to like Ocean City, Maryland.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Which was fun, and but I'm the youngest, so like by the time I was like ready to like vacation, I don't know. That's hard. Probably after I was ordained, and so we just had ordination a couple weeks ago. The guys have some time off, and I went to Poland and Rome, and it was almost like more of a pilgrimage, but it was a John Paul II Divine Mercy thing, like. That was pretty cool. That was fun to like travel as a priest. And as a priest, and like I'm like, I can have mass here, and I can go here and do this thing. I could be a priest. So that was a lot of fun to have mass at different places in Europe. That was probably my favorite.
Yeah, I think for me, I went to Ireland a couple of years after Mary and I got married, and my father's from Ireland, and so he was still alive. So I took a whole bunch of pictures while I was there. And his nephew still lives there. My cousin Muris still lives there with his wife and his 2 kids. And I had never met the 2 kids before, so it was good to have sort of family there. And so I spent a little bit of an extended time with them. But then we did travel. I mean, Ireland is a very small country. It's smaller than the state of Ohio. So you could do the whole place in a week or so, if you really wanted to. And so we did most of it. And it was just a lot of fun. It was just fun being away in a place that I had never been before. But the big highlight for me was that my cousin took me everywhere my father ever walked.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was just great. And then I came back with all these pictures for him. And I guess they generally don't travel. My mother was sick most of my life, so my father was her caregiver. And so he didn't really ever go. He never went back to Ireland, ever. He left in 1947, never returned home. And I showed him all. I was like, "What's this?" And he was able to figure it out. And he was like, "Oh wow, they built all along here."
That's cool.
And it was really cool to have him see the changes and kind of walk me through it and everything. So that was fun. So that was probably my favorite vacation.
Yeah.
I have to get back. I've not been back since. And everybody knew who I was, by the way, in this little small town. My father's from Waterford, the county, in a small town called Ring. And I walked in, every single person knew exactly who I was.
That's cool.
Which was scary. I was the first person 53 years from my immediate family to be in Ireland, and everybody knew exactly who I was.
It's experiential.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And speaking of experiences, we have experiences in churches.
Oh, what are those?
Yeah, so we were talking about where we might talk about for churches this week, and so the Feast of St. Barnabas is coming up.
Feast of St. Barnabas on Sunday. Mm-hmm. We do celebrate the solemnity of the body and blood of Christ, Corpus Christi.
More on that later. Yeah.
Also the Feast day of St. Barnabas, the apostle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a St. Barnabas in the Diocese of Cleveland in Northfield. So Father James Callway is the pastor who's there. Mm-hmm. He was ordained a year ahead of me, so he would have been ordained in 2016. We've got a school. I've been there. I helped a lot there this summer and this past year because Father James was all by his lonesome there.
Oh, right,
and they've got a pretty vibrant youth ministry group there. Francine Constantini, who's director of youth ministry in the diocese, used to be the youth minister there. So.
And her husband, Deacon Mike, is a deacon there.
Yeah, so that's her home parish. But they've got a lot of good stuff going on there. I know that Father James is really breathing some life and some joy into the parish. So, happy feast day to the good people of St. Barnabas.
Yeah, so check them out if you're ever
the aisle. The aisle is like slanted when you walk down.
Oh, right.
And it'd be cool just to like go on a skateboard and just roll down. I would not do that, by the way.
No. Is it an old movie theater they converted or something?
I don't think so, but it's just built like that.
Because there's a church I know that not here in Ohio, but that I've been in, and that was why it just slanted down, and they're like, yeah, it used to be.
It's not that severe. It's just a small enough like little gradation of a slant. But yeah, I remember it's a fun place to celebrate Mass because you've got people kind of all in front of you, and they had good music and yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. So St. Barnabas, will put a link to them in the show notes. And then, we got Ballpark Masses coming up for the Eucharistic Revival, and that's going to start on the Feast of the Body and Blood of our Lord Jesus Christ on the 11th. And we're going to have a Ballpark Mass at Captain Stadium in Eastlake. There'll be a Eucharistic procession as well.
Awesome.
It's going to be fun. And then on the 28th, so we're going to do a bunch of these. So that one's on June 11th at Captain Stadium in Eastlake, 7 o'clock, so be there. And then July 28th at League Park. If you haven't been to League Park, by the way, just go. It's just so much fun. Babe Ruth, his 500th home run there. They turned the ticket booth into a little museum. Just a lot of fun if you're a baseball fan, especially. Just go. So League Park on the 28th, and then August 14th will be at Crushers Stadium. At 6:30. By the time this podcast airs, I will have been to Crushers Stadium, so I'm going tomorrow, actually.
Okay.
And just hanging out. There's a day game there tomorrow.
On Avon?
I have not been out there yet. So
it's a weird field because the dirt isn't dirt.
Oh.
It's one of those like a spongy astroturf.
Oh, okay.
And I think the mound is dirt, the batter's box is dirt, but everything else is like a rubberized field.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like the old Astrodome.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
I toured the old Astrodome, which was cool. I've never seen a game there, but I did the ballpark tour there, which was fun. So at Crusher Stadium on August 14th, and then September 12th, we'll be out in Ashland at the park out there. That's still being finalized as we speak, but we'll be out there.
Cool.
If you like softball, by the way.
The Young Adult Softball League.
Young Adult Softball League's still going on, so we're still taking some registrations. We'll be open. We're going to extend the deadline from the 2nd to the 9th, not because we don't have enough players. We have more than enough players, but we want to give people just another chance since Memorial Day weekend came up with it. Maybe people might have been away and maybe didn't see the registration. So we said, let's give them another week to register.
You should do a home run derby.
That'll be fun. We're going to have a little all-star game at the end of the year at that September 12th out in Ashland at that Ballpark Mass. Probably be putting together like a team of seminarians and women religious.
Something
like that. So
try to get it going.
You play, right?
I dabble.
You dabble.
Any game that has a ball, sign me up. I used to play in the old Young Adult League that was in Parma. I was on the Magi, and I remember I joined their team because they had the coolest like jerseys where it was the wise men, and then there was like Babe Ruth calling a shot and pointing, and it was all this silhouette of the three wise men on camels, and the first person was a baseball player calling a shot. I'm like, that's a cool logo.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Cool. And so we have readings for Feast of Our. What's your
We do. So we get into John 6, which is the Bread of Life discourse, but we have Paul in the first letter to the Corinthians. he's got that great sense of, because the loaf of bread is one, we are many. We are one, for we also partake of the one loaf. And I love the image of like a loaf being a big thing, and there's a lot of it to go around. And Jesus is like, I'm not just this little thing. Like there's a lot of me, and there's a lot that I want to give to you. And even like in the Our Father, when we say that line of "Give us this day our daily bread," the actual word is like super substantial bread. So what God is providing is not just a little bit to a little bit of people from a little place, but like a lot to a lot with a lot.
Yeah.
So like what God offers in the Eucharist is super substantial. Yeah, it might be a small little host, but there's a lot of Jesus in that small host.
All of Jesus, as a matter of fact, right?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the image of the Eucharist as the feast that never runs out. You know, so you see like the loaves and the fishes kind of miracle and things like that. And sometimes when you read that, that's what I always come away with is that God will always be enough for us.
Right, and I love that. I always say that the summary of the Christian life, whether it be back to vocation, single, married, religious, or ordained, what does it mean to be a Christian? This is my body given up for you. Right, so like His gift of self in the Eucharist compels us to give of ourselves.
Yeah, so we might become...
And we don't take a break from that. We never vacate from that.
Right.
Right, we enter into that, and that's the mystery that we celebrate. That's the mystery of who we are.
Yeah, we're always becoming what we receive. You know, that's why we're doing this Eucharistic revival, so people might understand that just a little bit more. You know,
beautiful.
Amen. All right, Father Eric Garris, thanks for filling in this week.
Thank you. Father Philin feels pretty good over here.
Father Damian Ferentz, hope you're enjoying vacation. He's probably listening to this on his way back from wherever he is. Yeah. And we'll have this and a whole lot more next time here on Question of Faith.